It's cloudy and it's rainy. That means it is an absolutely perfect day to plant. 100% perfect. So we've got a little break. It's gonna rain in a minute. Gotta talk quick because you know it's gonna happen. But I'm gonna plant my least hardy spring crop today, and we're supposed to get ice in a week. So you gotta get them in early, but you gotta protect them. So what I wanna do today is I wanna just really go over how to know when to plant for spring, and what that really means, if you read in between the lines, is how to know how early you can plant. We're gonna fall in line in this plan here, and this is the bed we're gonna plant in. We've got, actually I've got this bok choy here, and it's starting to bolt, and so I'm considering letting it go ahead and bolt and collecting some seeds from it. Never collected seeds off of bok choy that I know of. I don't think I have. So I'm an opportunistic seed saver, so I see an opportunity, may just have to go for it. So I'm gonna leave that plant for now. We may end up changing it, but these other 2 rows we're gonna fill up with lettuce today, and they're pretty sensitive. They can take a cold, but we're forecasted to get into the mid-20s next week, so that's gonna be kind of tough on them, but we're gonna make it happen. And this is all in line with timing for, you know, spring planting. Typically speaking, planting in the spring is very tricky, and a lot of people wait too long to plant into the spring, too late is what I really should say, because we're worried about the cold. You can see in my garden, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, which is just kind of left over, but we're still growing it. 5, this bed over here this is my new grouping, hopefully, like we talked about in a previous video. So this one here has garlic in it, and then the rest is all carrots that we just seeded. And we're supposed to get some pretty decent weather. Hopefully we can get some germination going on and get them actively growing. I know the cold's gonna set them back, but I think it'll be okay. The carrots can take 21 days to germinate. In perfect temperatures, I've seen them germinate in 2 days. This isn't perfect temperatures. This isn't a perfect scenario, so it's gonna take a little bit of time. But we wanna plan that out because we wanna get it going in the right direction, and we wanna make sure that we get a harvest and time it out so that garlic and those carrots can come out at the same time, and then we can replant that bed any way we want. So first of all, you're gonna have to excuse the wind noise that we have going on today. It is what it is. But so what we've got going on here is I've got this little gym starting to lay out for planting. I've got all my furrows dug. I forgot to put my pre-planting fertilizer down, but we're gonna put it in and mix it in as well. And what we have over here, actually, which I did cover up with some dirt, these are little lettuce seedlings that we planted the seed in December. Okay, and I mean, they look nice and healthy. They're doing very good. Here's another one here. So you can see these are doing great. There's no issues with them at all. So first of all, you're gonna have to excuse the wind noise that we have going on today. It is what it is. But so what we've got going on here is I've got this little gym starting to lay out for planting. I've got all my furrows dug. I forgot to put my pre-planting fertilizer down, but we're gonna put it in and mix it in as well. And what we have over here, actually, which I did cover up with some dirt, these are little lettuce seedlings that we planted the seed in December. Okay, and I mean, they look nice and healthy. They're doing very good. Here's another one here. So you can see these are doing great. There's no issues with them at all. Talk about from December till now, which is February 13th today. And by the way, I'm in coastal North Carolina. Today it's like 58. It's gonna be 67 Saturday, and then it's gonna drop back again. We'll be in the highs in the 40s and then lows in the mid 20s to low 30s for that whole week. So we've got about 4 to 5 days roughly of getting these seeds in the ground, getting them a little bit comfortable, and then we're probably gonna have to throw the cover back over them. But we're planning for that, and we know that. And it seems like a pain in the butt, but if we think about it, if you go to a market and you're gonna buy a locally grown vegetable, and it's there and it's beautiful, it's that time of year, you know, it's right when you would expect it, then why are we not planting in the same time frame? So it's just a big math equation is all it is. Now, for me in my area in coastal North Carolina, the way my climate works is I go from So from now is February 13th, and we get what's called, I call yo-yo season. Also call it the heartbreak zone. And that's really what you need to know about my zone, is that it's a heartbreak zone, meaning it's going to get really warm, and it's going to get really cold, and it's going to get really warm, and it's going to get really cold, and it's going to go back and forth. So I know that in my area, by May at the latest, my lettuce is done. It's bolted completely, like unedible bolted. So I need to get all of my lettuce in the ground and harvested before May 1, really before the 3rd week in April. And so what that means is if I go from April 15th, which is my last frost date approximately, and I go 2 months back at 60 days, that's February 15th. And so I need to have this lettuce in the ground and growing, because what's going to happen is we're going to get optimal growing conditions coming up, where the temperature is going to be right and the soil is going to be right temperature. The sun's going to be increasing, because we have to remember in December we had the winter solstice. So every day after December 21st, we're getting 1 more minute of sunlight each day, which means we're getting more and more food for these plants to grow. They're going to grow more, and so we're going to take advantage of that now. By the way, I just recently got a comment and somebody seriously said, I'm going to unfollow because your fingernails are always dirty. Who cares? This is what it's all about, right? I mean, come on. This is planting season, so it is what it is. Now, I understand too, you may not have planned to plant early like this, and and you may be looking at it and say, hey, my plants aren't big enough to put out this, that, and the other. So let me show you a couple of the plants that I've planted out. No problems planting these out. And then also think about it this way. No matter what, if you are putting a plant outside, it is going to grow faster and stronger than if you have it inside. Hands down. It'll never be any different. So remember that, and let's look at a couple of these too, just to show you the size that I'm willing to put out. So these are plenty big, right? We've got this whole bed planted. We've got like 40 lettuces in these 2 rows. So what I do is I plant double rows, alternating, zigzag all the way through. So these are plenty big. This is Little Jim, and this is Vivian lettuce. This will actually get a little bit bigger than this. So what I'm imagining is this will go ahead and actually start heading very soon. They're both romaine type. But here you can see we had some stunted ones, semi-stunted ones. I have no problem planting a lettuce this size in the ground. It's absolutely going to grow and catch up to everything else. And truth be told, it may even do a little bit better because the roots weren't as bound. None of these were root bound that I could tell, but they still have that, they could have that issue. So we want to make sure that you understand that, like, you can put whatever you want in the ground, just don't damage the roots. And so let's take a look at some of these roots. So this is all I've got left in my tray. Let's see if I can pull one out easily. Yep. So you can see here, the roots are just starting to wrap. So this one is pretty perfect to plant. We've still got some time. I'm going to save this one just in case we have some kind of loss or something. But with as little as we have here, it doesn't really matter. We've got plenty of lettuce in the ground. Now it's going to get cold. We've said that it's going to get 25 degrees, 24 degrees, and that's where the cover comes in. Based on my experience, that cover is going to make a huge, huge difference. Because what that's going to do is it's going to protect it from the cold, but it's going to do something else that's really important. So we've established on this channel, and it's established in the world, not just here. I didn't come up with this by any stretch of the imagination. But what's happening, it's starting to rain. I gotta run from the rain, is the temperature fluctuations can actually be more damaging than the cold, right? So if we're diligent with our covers and we say, okay, we're gonna cover it, but in the daytime when it's gonna warm up, because we're in that season now where it will start to warm up during the day, we won't be having these days where they stay really low. And even to that, in that same breath, these plants love the cooler weather. So we can use that to our advantage, and we'll open up that low tunnel during the day, let that airflow come through, and then that will help minimize the temperature fluctuation. So the low tunnel doesn't really keep it super warm at night, but it will keep it a degree or two warmer, but we're eliminating that huge fluctuation that happens. So when the sun hits it, we open it up and it'll breathe. Now, I understand too that a lot of you have a standard 9-to-5 job and you can't do it. So think about it this way. Plan your plantings out around your time off. So go out there Friday night, plant it, cover it, open it Saturday morning, cover it Saturday night, open it Sunday morning, cover it Sunday night, open it Monday morning. And as we get closer and closer to spring, those time frames will change, and you may get days and in fact stretches of days where you don't have to cover them. So that's what we want to do. We want to be on top of it and keep that under control. So if we do our math and we go 60 days out, end up with this. So this is all 70 days old at this point. This area does not get as much sunlight, so it definitely hinders that, but we get more and more light and you will get faster and faster growth. And truth be told, I don't know about you, but any one of these can be harvested at any time. You know, we've been harvesting leaves off of our lettuce. Our bok choy back here is growing. It's getting to where we can start harvesting it. And then we've got some smaller lettuces up here. So all of this can be harvested. And then we come over here to all this broccoli and it's the same thing. So we timed it out and we're letting it run its course, and it's growing and it's doing its thing. It takes time. We'll have the luxury of time when we get spring weather, because a lot of times what we do is we look at it, and I've heard this a lot, and it's like, well, all my broccoli bolted. Well, all your broccoli bolted because you didn't plant it early enough. So plant it earlier. You know, the only other option you can have is as it starts to warm up like that, you can go through and put a shade cloth over it, but you don't really want to do it becomes a pain to put a shade cloth in, because then you're hindering some of the sun and we're racing against time. So as it starts to warm up more and more, we know that we're going to get those optimal temperatures. Now you can apply this to any vegetable right now as far as cool season vegetables. So if you don't know what a cool season vegetable is, go Google it. I ain't explaining it again. I do it all the time. It's out there. But if if you're going to plant appropriately for the season, then you absolutely need to do at minimum 60 days out. You need to have your plants in the ground from your expected harvest date. Okay? And if you don't know what your expected harvest date is, think about it this way. You're going to plant a garden, and if you feel so inclined, you want to plant like me, where we're planting 2, 3, even 4 seasons in one garden bed. We're going to plant our lettuce, and then we're going to come behind it and we're going to plant our tomatoes. So when do you want to plant your tomatoes? Okay, you've got that now. Now go back 60 to 70 days before that and think, I need to put my plants in the ground then. And then you can start growing your cool season crops before that. You may have to delay your tomato planting a little bit, but it's not the end of the world, because again, you're going to be getting warmer temperatures. And truth be told, delaying your tomato planting is actually not the end of the world. It could be a lot worse. So by delaying it, you're going to have warmer soil temperatures, and those tomatoes will more than likely take off faster. So you just keep that in mind as you keep doing this. So all of these plants are doing it. And as soon as I thought that I was planting early enough, I'm coming to realize I can go a little bit earlier, and I'm down to where the first time I did it, I jumped to 2 months ahead. Then I jumped about 3 weeks ahead. And now I'm thinking my final jump will be 1 to 2 weeks, but I also have a different idea for when to start. So I'll be starting some seeds a month earlier than before. And this is just all takes time. So you're going to figure it out, and then you're going to be off to the races. You're going to have stuff planted earlier and harvesting a lot more and making your gardens more efficient.